There are dozens of videos online noting famous scenes or lines in movies that were improvised on the spot. However, as awesome as it is to know that "we're going to need a bigger boat" was something that was thought up by Roy Scheider on the day of shooting, we wanted to do one better here. So in the video today, we're looking at 10 people that didn't just improvise scenes, they improvised entire characters. Characters like... Number 10. The Janitor from Scrubs. Neil Flynn plays the eponymous janitor in Scrubs, a seemingly insane custodian who dreams only of commanding a squirrel army, truly the dream of the common man. It was actually originally conceived that the janitor would be a one-time character, but Flynn bossed his first day so well that the director himself insisted that they make him into a mainstay character. Want a source on that? Well, how about hearing it straight from Zach Braff himself? In a Reddit AMA, Braff revealed that not only was Neil so good at acting that he made it into the main cast just by being hilarious, but he made up so many of his lines that the script would sometimes just say, "Neil makes something up," and leaves. You know you're good at acting when the very people who conceived your character can't think of lines funnier than the ones you can make up on the spot. Number 9. Wikus van der Merwe. District 9 is the story of Wikus van der Merwe and his alien best friend Christopher. Though it's never explained why Wikus has a more alien-sounding name than Chris, there isn't really time, since the entire film revolves around Wikus slowly turning into an alien, culminating in him shooting a South African warlord in the face while wearing a robot lobster. In a rather unique twist, the entire film is filmed like a pseudo-documentary on Wikus and his eventual alien transformation. According to Sholto Copley, Wikus, the film had no script to speak of. In other words, every line Wikus says is completely improvised, up to and including all of that screaming and swearing that he did. This was presumably done to keep the feel of a documentary, but you have to admit that it's kind of impressive that for 9 months Copley turned up to set after 2 hours of makeup and was trusted to just wing it for 7 hours. Number 8. The Genie from Aladdin. The Genie in Aladdin was a character specifically written for Robin Williams, mainly due to his immense amount of improvisational skill. Being a magical genie with unlimited godlike power, the Genie naturally spends most of his time morphing into pop culture figures that wouldn't exist in their world and thus make no sense within the context of the film itself, but luckily, who cares? It's reported that hours upon hours of material was recorded by Williams, the vast majority of it thought up by Williams himself. In fact, he recorded so much that the crew were at a loss as to how to boil it down to just his funniest stuff. Say what you want, but when you can walk into Disney Studios, ignore the script, have the entire crew rolling around on the floor, and then walk out with a paycheck, well, you win at making movies. Number 7. Dwight Schrute, The Office. The Office was a show revolving around, well, an office in a faux documentary style. Though it might not seem like it, the show is 100% scripted. Everything you see, every R and every pause is literally written right there in the script. With a few exceptions, of course. As revealed in an interview, both Steve Carell and Rainn Wilson improvised quite a few of their lines and jokes. However, it's noted that Rainn is more prone to this. For example, during the first season episode, Healthcare, Wilson was able to list off several made-up diseases, cracking up the entire cast in the process. Number 6. Seth Superbad. Superbad is one of the best received comedies of recent times, starring Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, and Christopher Mintz as a bunch of teens who want nothing more than to lose their virginity. Basically, it's American Pie for a new generation, but with a much less awesome soundtrack. Jonah Hill, who plays Seth, along with Cera and Mintz Plus, improvise a lot of their lines. Though the main story and actions of the cast were scripted from the start, the 3 young actors were given a lot of leeway with how they interpreted the script. For example, in an interview, director Judd Apatow, notorious for letting actors improvise, notes that due to the sheer amount of time one has while filming a movie, actors have a lot of time to just go with the flow. This is something Jonah Hill took advantage of when playing Seth, though we could have picked any character in the film, really. Indeed, we just picked Seth because his quotes are the most ridiculous. Number 5. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket is one of those films you need to watch. We can't describe it here because we don't feel like we could properly describe the cure for eye cancer in film form. Needless to say, if you watch it and don't find yourself quoting Sergeant Hartman, you're dead inside. Ali Ermi Hartman, who once served as a drill instructor, felt like he was perfect for the part, so while serving as a technical advisor, he lined up 30 extras and yelled at them in character for 10 minutes straight. He filmed it and gave the results to Kubrick. When he saw the footage, he immediately recast the guy who was supposed to be playing Hartman at the time and gave Ermi the part instead. Ermi responded by ripping up Hartman's part of the script and replaced it with roughly 150 pages of insults directed at the recruits. This is something you don't do to a Kubrick script, since it's usually a surefire way to make Kubrick stab you in the neck. But Amy got away with it because, just be honest with yourself, you'd let him get away with it too, as long as he promised not to scream your soul out of your body. Number 4. Randall Peltzer from Gremlins. This movie, for the 8 people who haven't seen it, is about small creatures known as mogwai that turn into bloodthirsty gremlins and multiply exponentially if exposed to water or fed after midnight. Seemingly in order to avoid explaining why the gremlins hadn't taken over the entire world, they're also killed if exposed to sunlight in their gremlin form. It's commonly known that legendary voice actor Frank Welker provided the voice Stripe, and that he was given free rein to improvise those lines. Though impressive, there was another character in the film who was largely overlooked, and that's Hoyt Axton, the first guy on screen and the seller of the bathroom buddy. It is noted that he improvised most of his lines. And yes, that includes the opening speech where he tries to sell a product that his character is supposed to have invented. The only question we're left wondering now is, well, why did he not become more famous? Number 3. Optimus Prime from Transformers. Optimus Prime is literally Robot Jesus. When he died in the original cartoon series, he was brought back to life by God, the animators, simply because people believed in him hard enough. When you have that kind of power and are also a giant truck with flaming swords for arms, the guy who voices you is going to carry some sway. In the Michael Bay live-action Transformers films, they got veteran voice actor Peter Cullen to be the voice of Optimus Prime. Seeing as Cullen had voiced Prime for years, his insight into the character was invaluable, meaning that if he felt that Optimus would say something that wasn't in the script, you'd better believe he said it. So how much did he improvise exactly? Well, just however much he felt was necessary. Number 2. Dr. Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters. Look, I'm not going to insult you as an audience by describing Ghostbusters. It's a movie. You should see it. In the movie, Dr. Venkman, played by Bill Murray, was pretty much all Bill Murray. Various sources give differing accounts of exactly how much Murray read the script, with some saying he'd occasionally glance at it and others saying that he'd just ignore it completely. However, what is certain is that he improvised, well, everything. So with that in mind, it's probably better to assume that he didn't look at the script, since it's more offensive to assume that he looked at it and then ignored it. Number 1. Tony Stark from Iron Man. Iron Man is a film about a man who is almost killed by terrorists and decides that the best revenge is to murder people in a suit that doubles as a war crime. The film has everything from intimate romance to scenes where 2 aging men in robot suits punch each other into orbit. According to Jeff Bridges, one of those aging men, the film was like a $200 million student project. People would turn up on set to find no script, and key scenes were improvised on the day of shooting. Robert Downey Jr., for his part, apparently came up with most of Tony Stark's lines himself on the spot. Though it's weird to think that a film with a Marvel label was so loosely put together, it's far more important to note that this only confirms what we were thinking all along, and that's that yes, Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much a real-life Tony Stark, only without the robot death suit. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week. For more from me, why not check out my other channel Today I Found Out, linked to below. And as always, thank you for watching.